I remember the way the rain fell that day, soft at first, like the sky was still deciding how much it wanted to say. Our old house sat at the edge of a cul-de-sac, where everything always looked a little too quiet. My brother's car wasn't in the driveway. He was supposed to be home. That was the first thing that felt off. I was alone, or at least I thought I was. Mom had flown out that morning to visit our aunt in Arizona. Dad wasn't around anymore. He hadn't been for 3 years, and we still weren't supposed to talk about that. So I had the house to myself, or I was meant to. The silence clung to everything, thick and still. It was the kind of silence you notice only when you're trying not to notice something else. I kicked off my shoes by the door and walked into the kitchen. It still smelled like the eggs I'd burned that morning. I checked my phone. 2 messages from friends about some party. One from my brother, Sam. Might swing by later. You'll be fine, yeah? I didn't reply. I never really knew how to talk to him anymore. I was halfway to my room when I heard the knock. Not the doorbell, a knock. Soft, precise. Like whoever it was didn't want to wake the house, just me. I froze. For half a second, I thought it might be him, my brother, playing some kind of joke. But why would he knock? When I opened the door, I wasn't expecting him. It was Alex, my brother's best friend. The guy who used to come over every weekend when we were younger, who'd steal our snacks and leave his cologne on the couch cushions. He'd always been the wild one. The one with a half smile like he knew things you didn't. The kind of guy teachers warn girls about. Or boys like me. He hadn't changed much, still had that same messy hair and lazy confidence. But something about him looked tired. Or maybe wired. Like he was running from something. Hey, he said, shifting his weight. Sam home. No, I thought he was with you. He looked over my shoulder, into the house, like he was checking for ghosts. Mind if I come in? I should have said no, but I stepped aside. He didn't say much as he walked past me. Just dropped his wet hoodie on the coat rack like he owned the place. I watched the way his shoulders moved, too deliberately, like he was trying to act casual. But his eyes kept darting around, searching, or maybe avoiding. So, I clear my throat. You okay? He didn't answer, just turned, met my gaze, and said, with a softness that scared me more than yelling ever could, "Why didn't you ever tell him?" My blood went cold. I hadn't told anyone. Not about the time I'd walked in on Alex 2 years ago, in my brother's room, wearing only his boxers, staring into the mirror with tears in his eyes. Or the way he looked at me, then, like I'd caught something sacred. Not sinful, just secret. Now, standing here alone in the house with him, I had the sudden urge to run. Or to ask something I wasn't supposed to ask. But all I said was, "Tell him what?" Alex stepped closer. Too close. And then he smiled. Not the usual smirk. This one was sad. Almost apologetic. "Never mind," he whispered. "You'll know soon enough." What the hell did that mean? Alex didn't say anything else at first. He just wandered into the living room like it still belonged to him. Like the 3 years since he and my brother had graduated hadn't happened. Like I hadn't watched him disappear from our lives, slowly and then all at once. I closed the front door, gently behind us. The rain was falling harder now, beating against the windows with a steady rhythm. Thunder rolled somewhere far off, not close enough to be frightening yet, just enough to feel like something was coming. He flopped onto the couch and leaned back, stretching his arms behind his head. "So, what are you up to these days, kid?" That word, kid, hit different now. I wasn't the scrawny 15-year-old who used to sneak glances at him from behind the fridge door. I'd grown, changed. My voice had deepened, my jaw sharpened. But somehow, under his gaze, I still felt like I was 16 and burning alive. "Not much," I said, moving to the kitchen to give myself space. "School, work, the usual." He didn't answer right away. I could feel his eyes on me, though. Tracking me, measuring something. I grabbed 2 glasses of water just to keep my hands busy. "You remember that night?" he asked. I paused, halfway to handing him the glass. "What night?" He took it without looking at me. The one when Sam passed out at that bonfire and you drove us home. You were what, 17? My heart kicked a little harder in my chest. I remembered. Of course I remembered. The night Sam had gotten too drunk to walk, and Alex had sat in the passenger seat beside me, humming to some sad indie song on the radio. He'd rested his hand on the console, fingers brushing mine, like it didn't matter, like it wasn't something dangerous. I remember, I said quietly. He looked at me now. Really looked. I think about that night a lot, he said. I didn't know what to say. So I said nothing. The silence swelled, filled with the storm outside and the hum of the refrigerator. I felt like I was waiting for something to snap, or start, or end. Can I ask you something? His voice was softer now. I nodded slowly. Why didn't you ever say anything? I blinked. About, you know what I mean. And I did. God, I did. Because you were my brother's best friend. Because I didn't know if you meant it. Because I wasn't sure if I wanted it to be true. He stood, not abruptly but with purpose. I backed up instinctively, bumping into the counter. Relax, he said, holding his hands up. I'm not going to do anything. I didn't think you were. I lied. He smirked again. That same half-smile. You sure? My mouth went dry. The tension in the room had thickened to the point of suffocation. You shouldn't be here, I said, barely audible. He stepped closer, anyway, close enough that I could smell the rain on his skin, the faint trace of smoke clinging to his hoodie. But I wanted to say something else. I wanted to push him away, or pull him closer, I wasn't sure which. But before I could make a decision, my phone buzzed on the counter. A message from Sam. Coming home later. Alex might stop by, heads up. Too late, I thought. Alex glanced at the screen, then looked at me. So he knows I'm here. Doesn't mean he'd be okay with it. He doesn't need to know everything, he said. I felt a chill, despite the heat in my chest. There was a strange, electric pause between us, the kind that sits heavy before something happens. I was about to speak when a loud creak echoed from upstairs. We both froze. I looked at him wide-eyed. Did you? He shook his head. Thought you were alone. I was. The sound came again, slower this time, more deliberate, like someone walking across the floor, above us. I swallowed hard. Maybe it's the house settling? That's what people say right before they die in horror movies, Alex muttered. I tried to laugh, but it came out hollow. I'll check it, he said, already heading for the stairs. No, wait, but he was already moving. I followed, heart racing. Every step we took up the stairs made that creaking sound feel heavier, more real. My bedroom door was open. So was Sam's. The guest room was dark, empty. Nothing looked disturbed, but the air felt wrong, like someone had just been there. Alex turned toward me. You sure you were alone? I hesitated. No, I admitted. We searched the rooms, checked the closets, the bathroom, even under the beds. Nothing. No one. But that didn't make the feeling go away. Back downstairs, I tried to shake it off. Maybe the storm was just messing with my head. Maybe being alone with Alex, being seen by him again, had stirred things I thought I'd buried. Or maybe it was something else. Something I couldn't name. We sat in silence for a few minutes. The rain was coming down harder now, pounding against the windows like it wanted in. Lightning flashed, and for a split second, I thought I saw a shape in the backyard. Just a tree, I told myself. Just the wind. Alex turned to me. You okay? I don't know. He nodded like that made sense. Me neither. He reached out, his fingers brushing mine on the couch cushion. Not an accident this time. A question. I didn't pull away. There was something raw in his expression. Something I hadn't seen before, not in him. Vulnerability. Regret. I shouldn't be here, he whispered, but I didn't know where else to go. You could have gone anywhere. No, he said, only here. The lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then the power went out. Darkness swallowed the room. All I could hear was the storm. All I could feel was his hand, still touching mine, and then his voice. Low. Shaky. There's something I need to tell you. I waited. I lied, he said. About Sam. About what he knows. What do you mean? He doesn't just not know. He can't know. My stomach dropped. Why? Alex's voice trembled. Because the night you drove us home, he wasn't as passed out as we thought. I pulled back, heart slamming in my chest. What are you saying? I think he saw us. I think he's known this whole time. The room seemed to tilt. Lightning flashed again. The shape in the backyard, it wasn't a tree. Someone was standing there, watching. I grabbed Alex's arm. Did you see that? He turned toward the window. The figure was gone. I swear someone was there. Alex stood up, grabbed his hoodie. We need to go. Go where? I don't know. Just not here. But this is my house. Exactly. My head was spinning. Questions burned in my throat, but I couldn't get them out. Alex looked at me like he wanted to say more, like he needed to, but something held him back. And then the lights flickered again, came back on. My phone buzzed once more. A new message from Sam. You need to ask Alex about what happened in my room. Don't trust him. I looked up. Alex was already staring at me. He knew. And suddenly, the silence wasn't just tension, it was danger. I clutched the phone tighter. What happened in his room, Alex? He didn't answer. He just stepped toward me, slowly, eyes unreadable. And in that moment, I didn't know if I wanted to run or kiss him. The room felt like it had stopped breathing. Alex stood frozen in place, his body tense, jaw tight. My fingers were still curled around the phone, Sam's message glowing on the screen like a warning too late to matter. Ask Alex about what happened in my room. Don't trust him. I swallowed hard, my voice barely more than a whisper. Tell me the truth. What happened? Alex looked away. For the first time since he walked through the door, the confidence dropped. He looked haunted. I didn't think he'd remember, he said finally. He was drunk, barely conscious. That's not an answer. He flinched. I moved toward him cautiously. Did something happen between you two? No. His response was too fast, too forceful. Not like that. Then what? He sat down heavily on the couch, head in his hands. I could see his shoulders shaking, whether from cold or guilt. I couldn't tell. I stood there, torn between fear and this old, stubborn tenderness I didn't want to admit still lived in me. He walked in on me, Alex said, voice muffled. That night, after you went to your room. My breath caught. In his room, he continued. I was going through his stuff, looking for something, a letter, I think, something he'd hidden from me. Why? He looked up at me now, eyes glassy and raw. Because I loved him. Not in the way you think, not the way I love you. My chest tightened, and it was like the air itself turned sharp. I didn't know what I was. He said, I thought maybe if I could just find some reason to hate him, it would be easier. To hate Sam? I asked, trying to make sense of it. To hate you, he corrected, because it was you I wanted, even back then. And that scared the hell out of me. I sank into the armrest across from him, everything inside me unraveling. My skin buzzed with electricity. His words were a confession, a wound, a weapon. But Sam saw you? I asked. Alex nodded, just standing there, holding a picture. It was one of you. Your birthday. You were laughing. He looked at me like he understood everything. And he didn't say anything? Not then. Not for years. But he pulled away from me after that. Subtly, like he couldn't unsee it. Thunder cracked outside again, closer this time. The walls seemed to pulse with it. And now? I asked, why come here now? Alex stood again, restless. He crossed the room, pressed his forehead to the window, looking out like he was expecting someone or something to appear. Because last week, he said slowly, Sam told me to stay away from you. Out of nowhere. Like he thought I still wanted something. Do you? He turned, and in the dim light his face was unreadable. Do you? The question sliced through me. I didn't know what the truth was anymore. Only that his presence pulled something raw and painful to the surface, something I'd spent years burying. I stood shaky, and then I stepped toward him. Alex didn't move, didn't speak. He just watched me come closer, watched me pause inches away, the air between us thick with heat and history. My voice broke when I finally said it. I waited for you. He closed his eyes. I know. I hated you for leaving. I hated me too. The next moment felt suspended in time, like the storm, the silence, the years, all held their breath. And then he kissed me. It wasn't soft. It wasn't sweet. It was desperate, messy, full of everything unspoken. His hands were in my hair, on my back, pulling me into him like he needed the contact to breathe. I kissed him back, for a second, and then I broke away, because something was wrong. Not just the memory of Sam's message, but something real, physical. The lights flickered again, but this time they didn't come back. A loud crash echoed from upstairs. We both jumped. What the hell was that? I said. Alex was already moving. He grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer, one he must have remembered from years ago, and handed it to me. We crept up the stairs together, the beam of light cutting through the dark like a knife. My bedroom door was shut. I hadn't left it that way. Did you? I began, but Alex shook his head. He reached for the knob. Wait, I said, grabbing his arm. What if it's Sam? Alex's eyes met mine. Then we tell him. But your message, you said he can't know. I lied, he whispered. I didn't want to lose you. Before I could say anything else, the door creaked open. But the room was empty. Or it looked that way. Then we saw it, the envelope on the bed. My name written on the front. Sam's handwriting. My hand trembled as I picked it up. Alex watched, tense. I opened it. Inside, a single photograph. The one Alex had described, my 17th birthday. I was laughing, caught mid-moment. Behind me, just barely in frame, was Alex, staring at me, the way no one had ever looked at me before, and scribbled on the back in ink that looked rushed. I saw it. I always saw it. But he doesn't know what else I saw. I looked up, heart pounding. What does that mean? Alex didn't answer. He just stared at the photo, his face pale, and whispered he was there that night. What night? He looked at me like he was seeing a ghost. The night you drove us home. My breath caught. What are you saying? Alex took a step back. I thought he was passed out, but he followed us. I think he saw everything. And if he did... Alex didn't blink. Then he's been waiting for the right time. Lightning lit the sky again, and in that brief flash, outside my bedroom window, a silhouette stood watching us. Not moving, not hiding, just waiting. Get away from the window, Alex hissed, pulling me down. My mind raced. Was that? I don't know. The envelope fluttered from my hand. There was something else inside. A second photo. It was taken from outside the house. Through the window. Tonight. The angle showed me and Alex moments before the kiss. My voice trembled. This was just taken. Alex grabbed the photo, his knuckles white. He's here. The house creaked again, not upstairs, downstairs, and suddenly we weren't alone anymore. The silence downstairs was louder than the thunder. Alex pressed his back to the wall beside the bedroom door, his chest rising and falling in sharp, shallow breaths. I crouched behind the bed, clutching the flashlight like it could protect me from whatever was moving below us. We didn't speak. Even breathing felt like a risk. And then footsteps, deliberate, slow, on the stairs. Creak, creak, creak. Alex's eyes met mine. He mouthed, "Stay here." I shook my head, but he was already standing, already moving toward the hallway. I followed anyway. I couldn't be alone, not again. Not with this hanging between us. We reached the top of the staircase just as the last step creaked. No one, but the front door was open just slightly. Rain streaked the hardwood floor, muddy footprints smeared toward the living room. I whispered, "Did you lock it earlier?" "I thought I did." "Then whoever opened it wanted us to know." Alex pushed the door open fully. The storm had softened, but wind still blew sheets of rain across the porch. The figure, whoever had been watching us, was gone, but the sense of being watched wasn't. We turned back into the house. That's when I saw it. Another envelope, this time placed on the kitchen counter with a different name. Alex. His hands shook slightly as he picked it up, tore it open. Inside, a single scrap of paper torn from a notebook. His expression hardened as he read it. What does it say? I asked. He looked at me, jaw clenched. Nothing. I didn't believe him. Alex, it says I deserve this. I froze. He dropped the paper like it burned. I think he's trying to scare me, Alex muttered. Or make me confess. To what? My voice cracked with the weight of everything unspoken. To wanting me? To watching me all those years. His eyes snapped to mine. Don't. No, I said, stepping closer, because I need to know. When you kissed me earlier, was it real? Or was it some twisted way to feel close to him again? To punish him by touching me? The air between us buzzed. He didn't answer at first. His silence was loud, full of guilt and hunger. Then he whispered, I kissed you because I never stopped thinking about it. About you. Then why does it feel like a game? Alex stepped forward. His hand hovered near my face, but he didn't touch me. Because I'm not good at this, he said. Because I've screwed up everything with Sam, with you, with myself. His voice broke, and that vulnerability, I'd only seen glimpses of cracked wide open. I wanted to be the guy who could walk away from this, he whispered. But I'm not. I never was. I felt the heat rise behind my eyes. He was close enough now that I could feel the warmth of his breath. But neither of us moved until something changed. The sound of a door slamming upstairs. We both jumped, looked toward the stairwell. It had been open before. I was sure of it. Stay here, Alex said again, moving before I could stop him. I followed anyway. But when we reached the top of the stairs, all the doors were shut. Every single one. We hadn't closed them. Alex reached for the nearest doorknob. It turned. Inside, nothing. Just my room. As we'd left it, he checked the others, one by one. Empty. Until the last one. Sam's old room. Alex paused outside it. His face was pale. His hand hovered near the knob, but didn't touch it. What is it? I asked. He shook his head. Then, without opening the door, he turned and walked away. I stared at the door. I think he's still in there, I said quietly. Alex didn't stop, and I didn't follow. I turned back, heart pounding, and placed my hand on the doorknob. It was cold, much colder than it should have been. But I didn't open it. Not yet. Downstairs, the wind howled through the cracked front door. A soft voice echoed from behind the door I still hadn't opened. My name. Not a shout. A whisper. Like someone had been waiting. And then silence. I didn't know what was behind that door. Or whether Alex had told me everything. Or if Sam had ever truly left. But I knew one thing. Whatever happened that night, the one none of us talked about, had never really ended. It was just beginning again. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I couldn't, because I wouldn't. Alex crashed on the couch downstairs, claiming exhaustion. But I think we both needed the distance. Too many questions hung between us, suspended in the air like the scent of rain that still lingered on the walls. I sat in bed, staring at the closed door across the hall. Sam's room. I never opened it. I still don't know why. Maybe I was afraid of what I might find. Or who. The morning came too fast. A dull, gray haze settled over the neighborhood. The kind of day where even the sun seemed to hide. I made coffee mechanically, eyes scanning every corner like the walls might shift again. Alex stood at the window, arms folded. He hadn't spoken since last night. I placed a mug on the table near him, careful not to let our fingers brush. He didn't thank me, just stared outside. They're gone, he said. The footprints. He nodded, but he didn't sound relieved. Maybe it was just the storm. I offered weakly. Maybe we imagined. No, he interrupted. We didn't. Someone was here. Someone left that photo. I looked down at the envelope, still sitting where we left it. We hadn't touched it since. Hadn't dared. Alex turned to me. His eyes were bloodshot, but focused. I need to tell you something else. I tensed. Now. I should have told you years ago. My mouth went dry. What is it? He hesitated. But before he could speak, his phone, forgotten on the kitchen counter, buzzed. Once. Twice. 3 times. He grabbed it. Read the screen. His entire body stilled. I moved closer. Who is it? He held out the phone. Unknown number. No name. No message. Just an image. A photo. Of me. From last night. Asleep. In my bed. Alone. But clearly taken from inside the room. I dropped the phone. My legs nearly gave out. Alex caught me, his hands gripping my arms too tightly. That's impossible, I whispered. I didn't even sleep. I locked every door, he said, almost to himself. I checked the windows. We stood there, breathless, as realization washed over us. This wasn't about a kiss anymore. This wasn't even about Alex. Someone was watching us. Someone who knew what happened that night. And they were inside the house. Alex finally pulled away, pacing now. We have to go to the police. We have to explain. Explain what? I snapped. That we kissed? That someone left a photo in a dead man's room? What do we even say? The words felt dangerous the moment I said them. Dead man. Because Sam was dead. Wasn't he? I turned toward the stairs again, eyes locked on the door at the end of all. Still closed. Still waiting. Do you think he's really gone? I asked. Alex looked up at me. His face was unreadable. I don't know anymore. And for a moment I thought he might cry. But then a knock. At the front door. 3 sharp taps. We froze. Alex reached for the handle. I grabbed his arm. He looked at me. We both knew. Whoever was on the other side of that door wasn't a stranger. And as the door creaked open, I saw a hand, a familiar scar across the knuckles, holding something, a second envelope. This time, it had both our names on it. And inside, we found only a mirror shard, with one word etched into the back. Remember. The door slammed shut behind us, but no one was there. It started the night the sky split open. A low summer storm had rolled in just past midnight, the kind that hums through the walls before it ever touches the ground. I remember the thunder more than anything, not the flash of lightning, not the rain, just that slow, bone-deep growl that made everything else fall quiet, like even a house was holding its breath. My phone buzzed once, then went still. The screen lit up with a name I hadn't seen in years. Alex, my brother's best friend. And once, almost something else. I hadn't heard from him in over 4 years. Not since the night everything cracked open between us like a secret too sharp to hold. Not since the night my brother Sam found out and said nothing, and everything changed after that. The message was short. You home? I stared at it longer than I needed to. My thumb hovered over the screen. I didn't know if I was supposed to answer, but I did. Yeah. No typing bubble. No follow-up. 10 minutes later, I heard the knock. He looked almost exactly the same when I opened the door. Older maybe, broader shoulders, a deeper shadow in his eyes. His hair was damp from the rain, and the hoodie he wore clung to his chest. He didn't smile. He didn't explain. Just said, "Can we talk?" I stepped aside, wordless. My heart was already hammering. The house was quiet, too quiet. Sam had moved out the year before. Said he needed space. I never asked from what. Maybe he couldn't take living here after what he saw or what he thought he saw. Alex walked in like no time had passed, like muscle memory guided him through the dim hallway to the kitchen. He paused under the flickering light above the table. Same place he used to sit on summer nights, peeling oranges with his thumb while Sam played music too loud upstairs. Only this time, Sam wasn't here. And I wasn't 17 anymore. I offered him water. He didn't take it. His eyes scanned the walls like he expected to see photos of the 3 of us, like he needed to remember where he stood in this story. And I realized something then. He wasn't just visiting. He was haunting the place. I shouldn't have come, he said suddenly, like he was answering a question I hadn't asked. Then why did you? He hesitated. I wanted to see if you still hated me. I didn't answer. I couldn't, because truthfully I didn't know the answer. He looked down, thumb running along the edge of the kitchen table. Then he looked up again directly into me. I still think about that night, he said quietly. The thunder cracked again, closer now. The windows trembled. I swallowed hard, and before I could say anything he asked, "Do you still think about it too?" That's when I noticed the second message. From Sam. Unopened. Sent only minutes before Alex arrived. If he shows up, don't trust him. Ask him about what happened in my room. A chill crawled down my spine. because Sam hadn't texted me in almost a year. And according to my mom, he was missing